What's up, my mathletes? That's right, Mr. Muscarella coming at you. And in this video, we're going to take a look at those solving trig equations with infinite solutions again. But this time, we're going to be looking at example number 2. So let's go. We've got this technique here where we're going to solve by taking square roots. And very often in directions, you won't often be told, like, solve by taking square roots. I mean, that's one of the things about this class. You've got to analyze and see things. So when you look at this, you want to analyze and say, okay, I've got one quadratic term, a constant, and another constant right there. So anytime you only have one quadratic term and two constants, you're going to solve that using this technique. So what we'll do first, as you probably already know, we'll move that 3 over. When you do that, you'll get -4 sine squared theta equals 2 minus 3 gives us -1. Dividing both sides by 4, so here's where you got to be careful with your arithmetic. We get sine squared of theta is going to be 1 over 4. Now, when you go to solve for a quantity that's being squared, you'll square root both sides, and that's often what we'll hear students say. So make sure you do plus or minus with that, and then the square root of 1/4. Now this happens to be a perfect square, which is really nice. So you're going to get sine of theta is going to be plus or minus 1/2. All right, so that is how we solve this equation. Now I got to kind of analyze on a unit circle, like where that be at. So on the unit circle, let's see, sine is going to be positive 1/2. Up here in quadrants 1 and 2. And in quadrant number 1, sine is going to be 1/2 when you are at 30 degrees. And in quadrant number 2, sine is going to be positive there at 150 degrees. And notice how both of these angles are 30 degrees above the horizontal, above the x-axis. Right there. So that's 1 or 2 of our solutions right there when sine is 1/2. Now I've got 2 other solutions, and that's when sine is -1/2. So sine is negative, so the y coordinate is negative down here when 30 degrees below the axis, the x-axis, or 30 degrees past 180 is going to be 210 degrees, and 30 degrees from the x-axis again will be 360 minus 30, which will be 330 degrees. And those are all in degrees. So, you know, you may be asked to find that in radians too, which I know I do with my students. So that'll be everything in the pi over 6 family. And so you have pi over 6, and then you'll have 5 pi's over 6, and then 7 pi's over 6, and then lastly you'll have 11 pi over 6. So those are all going to be your solutions. Now that would be if we were just looking in 0 to 2 pi or 0 to 360, but we're looking for all the solutions. Now notice how these two right here are 180 degrees apart. So that doesn't mean we have to write 4 separate solutions. We're only going to be writing 2. And the first one that we're going to write is going to involve that 30 degrees. So we'll write theta is going to be 30 degrees. Now instead of going all the way around to get back up to have a coterminal angle there. So let me change colors on here just so it's a little bit easier to see. Instead of going all the way around to get there, back to 30, we can go halfway around and get to 210. So instead of adding 360, we're merely going to add 180. So you're going to have 180 in pi, and then, or I'm thinking ahead here, not in pi, just 300, or 30 plus 180 n. And then n is an element of the set of integers. So that takes care of one of our solutions. Now again, if we wanted to write that in radians, we're just going to simply write pi over 6 plus, now you got to know, 180 degrees is just pi. And then n, and still have your NEZ part. You got to have that part right there. So make sure you have that. Now, those 2 solutions right there, those are both, you know, for that piece right there where they are 180 apart starting at 30. Now, similarly, I've got this other group over here where 150 is and 330, and again, they are also 180 degrees apart. So I'm going to do that same thing again, but only using the 150. So I'm going to have theta is going to equal 150 plus 180n. And then n is an element of the set of integers, and instead of 150, I could also write that as 5 pi over 6 plus pi n where n is an element of the set of integers. So these are going to be the way that I would write my two solutions, and your teacher might differentiate whether they want them in degrees or radians, but that's how you do that for a problem like this where you're being asked to find all the solutions. When you go to solve for all solutions, make sure that you write everything that you got there. That's how you do this type of problem when you have 4 solutions within that 0 to 360 range. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. Make it a great day as always, and I'll catch up with you later. Peace out, Cub Scout.